Welcome to Keep On Casting, day 2, Alaska, out of Seward, Alaska. Been up since 4 this morning catching halibut. Gary walks out with a cup of coffee and pulls in a big one.
A whole pot of coffee? Okay, see you in about an hour.
Hey, stay tuned for another episode of Keep On Casting. Keep On Casting is brought to you by Thibodeau Regional Medical Center. Bronco Industries, leading the field in industrial construction and fabrication. Real Outfitters, proud to be the first family-owned tackle store in Thibodeau, Louisiana.
My name's Aaron Tompkins. I'm from Savannah, Georgia, and I've been fishing with J-Doc Sport Fishing since 2011. I came to Seward in 2011 as a deckhand, and after that season, the captain I deckhanded for got hired back by his old owner. Since then we've grown, and since then we've also downsized. So right now we have two 12-pack boats, the Predator and the Tail Watcher, two 6-pack boats, the Gotfish and the Arctic Cat, and this boat, which is the Glacier Bear, which is a long-range boat. One nice thing about Alaska is it's got a lot of mountains. Usually you can work around the weather and find some place out of the weather to at least fish. You may have to go through some rough weather to get there, but usually you can get out of the wind. On this trip we had some pretty challenging weather. 25, 30 mile an hour west wind, but we were able to get on the backside of an island and get out of the wind where at least it was calm where we were fishing. And that's typical. It's a really strange fishery because people quit coming when the fishing's still really good. Like some of our best trips are the last trips of the year. But it's not summer anymore. Like once Labor Day comes, people quit coming. So really, anytime during the summer is a good time to come. Well, you just want to bring a bunch of different layered clothing. On the multi-day trips on here, you really don't need to bring that much. Pretty much a change of clothes is really all you need. Typically people show up to the dock in the same thing they left in. Other than that, in good quality rubber boots.
Well, we packed a lot of clothes, and we're in the same pair as we came here with.
People that have done this before, they come with a backpack.
That's right. So Cap, what's the plan for today?
Well, once we get these 3 halibut, then we're gonna make probably about a 25, 30 mile cruise and jig for some lings, and then jig for some yellow eye, and then catch some black rockfish, and finally end the day trying to get a limit of silver salmon.
Sweet.
Find a nice calm place to anchor up and have dinner. And everybody get a good night's sleep, including me.
All right.
Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
So with the halibut, when they're small in the beginning of their life, they typically are found in flat bottom, mud or sand, someplace where they can dig down and hide. They're small enough where they can be eaten by a lot of other fish. So they'll lay on the bottom as something comes over, hop up off the bottom, eat it, and hide again. Once they get to a certain size, then they kind of change modes. You'll find on a really large halibut, you'll find a lot of octopus beaks in their stomach. You'll find rockfish carcasses. They'll eat whatever will fit in their mouth. When you're going for larger halibut, you're looking for rocky bottom, live bottom, something with a lot of life. That's not always true. I've got some halibut spots that are good halibut spots, and I really can't explain why. There's not much there. So really the only way to know whether there's halibut in a place is to fish it and find out. But typically what we look for is live bottom, rocky bottom, pinnacles, something with a lot of life on it. As far as their life cycle goes, halibut, the only way to really tell how old a halibut is to have somebody that knows what they're looking at look at their ear bones. And there's growth rings for every year, it's just like a tree. Halibut can get big really, really fast if they have a lot of food, or it may take them a long, long time to get big if there's not a lot of food available.
We got Dr. Ira Thorley here from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Hooked up on a little baby.
Little baby, oh, I fire hooked him.
Wow.
That's why he was feeling niggas.
On social media, I've gotten flack before for pictures or videos of us shooting fish or hitting them with a bat, but what people don't understand is when you have an 80, 100-pound fish flopping around on the deck, it causes a number of problems. A, it can get somebody hurt. It'll knock you off your feet. It can damage equipment, break rods, and also it's not good for the meat itself. You will bruise up the meat of the fish. So the quicker you can put that fish down, the better. So while he's in the water, if you can put a 410 slug in his brain, that shuts everything down. He comes in the boat, there's no flopping around, there's no safety issues. It's just better for everybody. Hey, nice one, bud. Same thing with the baseball bat. You know, people think it's overkill, but there was one time, it didn't happen to me, but it happened to another captain. It was about a 120-pound fish, came back to life, started flopping around, knocked the door off, and went out the boat, carrying a deckhand with it. And they lost the fish. So take all the steps you can to minimize people getting hurt and preserving the quality of the meat of the fish.
So it's the second day. We caught our halibut. Now we're going after ling cod. We get one ling cod per person. The captain wants us to, it's a mountain, it's a hill, and it's real easy to get off of quick. It's about 300 feet. Wants us to drop down. As soon as you feel a tap, you want to start setting the hook. He said they'll be suspended up off the mountain sometime, so let's see if he's right.
Ling cod are just a big predatory fish. They lay on the bottom, ambush prey as it comes by. We call them bucket mouths. They got really, really big mouths, fangs. You typically find them on what we call pinnacles, underwater mountains. And the really good ling spots, if you can find a pinnacle next to a ledge. I think there's just a lot of life that flows over there. They'll sit on the top of it, and as salmon and other fish come floating by, it gives them the perfect opportunity to pop up and eat one. Almost all underwater mountains typically will have some. If you've got a lot of rockfish around, there's probably ling cod too. So like the yellow eyes, if you can find several different ling cod spots and not go back to the same one, it helps.
There he is. Get him, boy. Reel. Now you good. Now, leaning on that thing, back up a little bit. Put your cushion on there. Right there. Now you got it. Don't move. Oh yeah, it's a hammer. All right, cat. Say my name.
20 minutes, slam, and you're done.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
When we're fishing for halibut, typically what we'll use, when I start out, when I was running day trips, not so much on this boat, because it's kind of a different program, but on a day trip boat, I would start out offering them the biggest variety I could. We'd have single herring or half herring, What we call a carcass, which is left over after you fillet a salmon, would be a bigger bait. And also we use artificials, jigs, a lead head jig. And some days you catch every fish on herring, some days they don't want anything but a big bait, some days you catch every single fish on the jig. So I'd start out the day by offering them as much of a variety as possible, figuring out what they were in the mood for that day, and then change things up accordingly. On this boat, typically we're going after larger fish, and we mostly just run all big baits, all carcasses or whole pink salmon or whole chums. The jig's still really effective, but we've gotten away from the herring. On a typical day trip, what I used to tell people was any fish is 40 pounds or bigger, a halibut. So the average size halibut in Alaska, sport fish caught, I think is about 15 pounds. So if you catch a 40-pound fish, that's more than twice as big as average. And a 40-pound fish will yield you about 20 pounds of meat, and at $26 a pound, it's a $500 fish. So a 40-pound fish is a nice fish. On this boat, we're trying to catch things that are a little bit bigger, and depending on weather and where we can go, but typically we're looking for 80 pounds or bigger. Try to get everything 100 pounds or bigger, but you just have to see what comes your way. It's fishing at the end of the day. They're not in a cage, so it's not like we can order up what we want, but that's our goal. So on this trip, we threw back a lot of really nice fish that when I was running day trips, I would have loved to kept. And on this trip, we were just looking for bigger fish. But 50, 60, 70 pound fish are really, really nice fish. Good quality meat. It's still big enough to put up a nice fight. Once a halibut gets over a certain size, I'm gonna say about 160, 170, the texture of the meat starts to change a little bit, and the quality of the meat as far as eating goes down. It's still good, just not as good as some of the smaller fish. So far, so good. A's and F's.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Lingcod is one per person, one in possession.
And how is the team doing?
Fair. I give them a C right now, but they do show signs of improvement. Well, okay, never mind. I take that back.
Hooked up. It's a lingcod. It's not going to be a red snapper or group. Where it came from? Place.
Big one.
Oh my goodness.
Spider.
Now he's got a big one.
Oh, look at this swim bladder on that baby.
We're going to that sheltered day or something.
Almost 16. Not quite.
Yeah. We're going to stop and get some black rockfish going there. And so tomorrow we try some salmon.
dude.
There's many types of rockfish, but one of the typical ones we catch is yellow eyes. And people love them because they're real pretty. They're orange and they have yellow eyes. They take a long time to get really big, and they're a non-pelagic fish, which means they don't move around a lot. They'll live their whole life in one area. So the limit on them is much less. It's only one per person, and it's only one in possession to keep them from getting fished out. Because once you find them, they're not hard to catch, and you can clean them out, and they're not going to come back for a long time. So typically what I'll do is try not to go back to the same spot over and over and over. So try to spread out your yellow eye fishing amongst 10 different spots, and that way they all stay good. Yeah, you typically find yellow eye in deeper water, 200 feet or deeper. You can catch them shallower, but like the halibut, they want live bottom. So if you have rocky live bottom in 200 foot or more of water, it will have yellow eyes.
There we go. Double trouble! Double pumpkins!
He's not going anywhere.
Good thing they're not going anywhere.
Guys, we had a great time fishing up here in Seward, Alaska on the Glacier Bear. I want to thank Jake. Awesome cooking, great fish in. Thank you, Garrett. Had a great time. Captain Butters, great time, man. Appreciate it. As always, we want to thank our troops. Without them, we couldn't do what we do today. Remember, take a kid fishing. And until next time, keep on casting.
So Boudreaux comes in from a long night of partying. He goes to bed, gets up the next morning to go to work, don't even take a shower, gets on the bus, sits down, reads his newspaper. Along came a priest. Boudreaux says, "May Father, what causes arthritis?" The priest says, "Well, probably long nights of partying and sinning." Nothing was said for a minute, and the priest says, "Boudreaux," he says, "why you want to know that?" He says, "Well," he said, "I'm reading right here, the Pope's got arthritis."